Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Nicole Danielle, and this is my channel where we talk homeschool and faith and all things, life and family. In today's video, we are going to address some homeschooling fears, some common misconceptions. So finding my tribe, where are my people at? Socialization, your kid is not going to be socialized if you homeschool, right? We are going to talk about where do I begin? What in the world do I do? How do I do this? And also state standards. How am I going to keep up the state standards? So go ahead, sit back, grab you some coffee, and let's just jump into this. Hey guys. So finding our tribe. I loved it. We all need people to support us, and sometimes it's not our family. Sometimes it's not even our best friends. Like, we decide that we're going to jump into this and we're terrified and we don't seem to have any support, and all we seem to have is like negative Nancy's at our door. Oh man, it's like, do you really think that you should do that? What about socialization? What about friends? You're not prepared for that. All you have is a high school education. You're gonna ruin your children. I really think that they're going into high school and they really need peers their age. Guys, no. No, they don't. They really don't. I apologize also. I'm gonna pause some if I need to, because we have an air show going on by our home and it gets really loud, and we have these massive fighter jets flying over our house, and sometimes they get so close I feel like they're going to crash into me and the whole house shakes, and I'm just like, ugh. Okay, so if I pause, that is why, and you can maybe not hear it, but I won't be able to think. I will be internally thinking that they're going to kill us all. Moving on. So finding your tribe is really important. It's very important to have your people that you can call on the phone when you've had a really terrible day and you're ready to take your children to the bus stop. They don't even go to that school because you've pulled them out, and you just want the big yellow bus to come pick them up because you're done and everybody's yelling and everybody's crying and the day was horrible and only half the math lesson got done and your kitchen's a wreck and homeschool papers are all over the house and the dog is eating things. Look, the dog never ate our homework when we were in public school. My children were in public school. My two oldest, I pulled my middle out in the middle of 3rd grade and my oldest out in the middle of 6th grade. And I've been homeschooling ever since. Never once did I have a dog eat homework until we were homeschoolers. And I had this nice, fresh stack of thrift book finds. And they ate them. No, my dogs literally ate my books. A bunch of them. And then some months later, my kid had their notebook out with, I don't remember what subject it was, but it was a full notebook full of work, and the dog ate it. I'm like, what is wrong with this? Seriously? The dog really did eat the homework. That is not important to this video. So, Facebook groups. Facebook groups are probably your very best friend. There are Facebook groups for everything. The curriculum that you choose, you can find a Charlotte Mason Facebook group. You can find a Knotgrass Facebook group. You can find a Gather Round Facebook group. Sunlight, you get the point. Typically, if you pick a curriculum, there's a Facebook group for it. They also have local Facebook groups. Just search on your city homeschool and you should be able to find things. The local in-person meetups, that's your philosophy and things like that. I know that you can type in Charlotte Mason and your city and there will be there. You need support and encouragement, and And once you dig into these groups, you're going to be able to cry together and laugh together and reminisce together. And you might find your next best friend through Facebook. I have found several best friends through Facebook. Some of them I have never met in person, but they get me. They understand me. They are my people. And one day, we're all going to move to 1,000 acres, and we're going to plant our gardens and raise our chickens and our sheep and our goats and our children, probably in that order, and homeschool and churn our own butter. And I'm just kidding. It probably won't happen. Moving on. So there are a couple YouTubers that I personally watch that have their own homeschool Facebook groups. They are excellent communities. They are so sweet. They do not deal well with naysayers or negative Nancy's, and they keep it really, really, really encouraging and a really good, wholesome environment. Angela Braniff on YouTube. Here comes an airplane. It's fine. Angela Braniff on YouTube. Her second channel is called This Gathered Nest. She's awesome. She's a mom to like 8 children. She has her own Facebook group. All you have to do is like go to any one of her YouTube channels, specifically talking about homeschooling. She does a lot of other content, and find where she links her Facebook group. And then the other one is her name is Mandy Maltz. Her YouTube channel is called The Handmade Homeschooler. And she also has a YouTube group, or a Facebook group that you can kind of just dig into and get encouragement. She's super sweet. Both of those ladies are super, super sweet. And then churches, local churches, churches that are in your neighborhood. You could, I don't think you need to even be involved in it. Fighter pilots, jets, doing circles in the air. That's going to be a distraction. Okay, moving on. You could go into any of the church, maybe like a neighborhood church, and say, hey, do you guys have a homeschool group that meets here? You can go to your own church, and if you don't have one, ask to make one. You could head that up, because you know what? You can. And it might be your calling. It might be what God wants you to do. If you do not fall into a community, maybe you can create a community. Co-ops. There are different kinds of co-ops. I know personally that I live really close to Memphis, Tennessee, and they have tons of co-ops, tons, like the Bellevue tutorial and this tutorial and that tutorial. The Cordova tutorial, there's a lot of them. And there, your children actually are there 1 day a week taking classes, or 2 days a week, whatever classes you want them to do, or whatever. And they actually can do that. They have classical conversations. I've heard excellent things about that. Charlotte Mason has co-ops. The homeschool field trip groups are great to look into. Again, on Facebook, type in homeschool field trip in your city. You'll be able to find something. And they're like dedicated just field trip groups. That's all they do. And you can go to as many as you want, or you can go to as few as you want. In Memphis, we have the MHEA. It's, what's it called? The Home Education Association. Memphis Home Education Association. And they provide a lot of things, sports through them. A lot of churches do sports, though, as well. Some homeschoolers actually will play for the school system. So you could go into that if the sports are your thing. And you can just ask your regular schools if your kids can play on their teams. Just look up home education associations around your town. That also has, MHEA also puts on curriculum sales. And you can walk around and you can meet mamas that are selling your own things, and you can exchange phone numbers and names, because you know what? You're going to be so tired of being alone. and you're just going to you're going to be like, okay, so if you are an introverted person like I used to be, this is really going to push you out of your shell, and you're going to be desperate for adult conversation, and you're just going to start talking to whoever will listen to you, and it's delightful, really. And they don't think you're crazy because they need it too. And you guys can become fast friends because you both can bond over your age group, or not grass, or science, or art, whatever. Also, art classes. There are just random art classes around. The Gather Round app. Gather Round is a homeschool curriculum that I have just stumbled onto, that I am learning about. They have their own specific app. It's more curriculum specific, but you can join that and you can have community there. And then the HSLDA. The HSLDA is your best friend. They are the reason we can homeschool. They fight big government and keep it to where we can homeschool our children. If you are not familiar with them, go ahead and join them, pay them. They're the big lawyers in the big wigs, rubbing shoulders and fighting for our freedom to homeschool our children. But if you don't want to give them your money, which I understand, you can go onto their website and you can type in your city, and they have tons and tons and tons of things that you can do and get involved with. That's where you can find a lot of your co-ops and your groups and things like that. And I talked about sports already, but your cover school, here in Tennessee, we have to have an umbrella school. I know a lot of states are not like that, so it's a little bit harder to do. Some states are just kind of free. You just do whatever you want to do. Some states have people specifically that you have to talk to. Just look up your own state's homeschool laws. But like our cover school, you can ask to do meetups or gatherings. They do that. If you ask them to do something, they might be like, I sure will. I'll put that email out as long as you're heading it up. So that's what we do. It's a lot of fun. You have so many choices. I just would like to encourage you to reach out to people and do it. I would just like to encourage you to put yourself out there and make friends and be a good friend and seek encouragement where you can get it from. Don't listen to the naysayers. You can do this. It's not easy, but neither is anything else worth doing, right? Jobs are jobs, and it's not easy being a mom. It's not easy being a full-time mom or stay-at-home mom or part-time job, or I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just rambling at this point. Just do it. Just look into it. Reach out to people. Find your own community, and the tribe will be formed. And don't listen to people that put doubts in your heads, because it's not worth it. Okay, so that kind of takes us into socialization. And I think that's a big fat lie. I think if you listen to the people that say, well, your kids aren't going to be socialized and they're going to be weird and they're going to be, behind or whatever, they're not going to learn, they're not going to be able to speak to people. Okay, that's a big joke. Because you're going to be intentional. Homeschoolers have, I think, quite the opposite problem. We have to really protect our children's time as homeschoolers. You have everybody constantly always, oh, well, you guys homeschool, so you're home, so you can do this. Or so, you homeschool, so you can watch my kid. You homeschool, so y'all can come over and blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, what are you guys up to? I know you're not doing anything at all. So if you're not careful to protect your education time, you might find yourself out of the house every single day of the week, and you're going to get exhausted. And all of the things that I have already mentioned with the field trips and the co-ops and the whatevers, the sports, your child's going to learn how to be a human. And really and truly, if they're learning from you and your spouse, more so than learning from a public school setting, they're probably going to be far better off in the end. I think that's just safe to say. You can teach them how to speak to adults, and more homeschooled children, they're just so much more respectful, and they're so much more, I'm not sure what the word is, outgoing, kind and polite, and they know how to make eye contact with adults. They shake your hand and look you in the eye and yes ma'am and yes sir, and they're just so far advanced above their peers. So sure, they might have a hard time talking to their peers, but they might not. They might just get along with the older kids or adults, and that's okay too. They'll have that peer-to-peer contact in church and in sports and on the field trips, and it'll be okay. It really will be okay. They're going to be okay. How much socialization time do you actually get at an 8-hour public school? Not much, because most of the time spent is being silent. Silent in the hallways, silent in the classroom, your 30-minute recess, and you only get that in elementary school. Silent lunch if the entire lunch period is whoever made somebody angry. I've had silent lunches before. Punished with ISS because you did something wrong. You had to sit on the stage for lunch. That was a thing in middle school. That was stupid. My child experienced that. I was angry. Moving on. You're not going to have a problem with socialization. And the state standards. Fear of, can I keep up with the standards? Can I keep up with the school setting? No, stop. Just stop. Because the state standards are a joke. The way they form the state test, the way they form their standards is a joke. It really is a joke. They take the highest achieving student and they take the lowest achieving student and they mesh them together, and somewhere in the middle you get your standard. And not all the children fall in the standard. Nobody falls in this. Not even the middle children fall in the standard. You're going to be above or you're going to be below, and your child is going to be okay. Your child is going to be right exactly where your child needs to be. And the fact that you're worried about these fears is a really good indicator that you're not going to have those problems. You're going to fight for your kid because you know your kid. You're going to take as much time learning multiplication as you need. You're going to take as much time going over the nouns and verbs and whatever they're struggling with. You're going to slow down and they're going to learn it before you move on. In a public school setting, they're not going to slow down for your child. The rest of the class is going to get it right. Your child's going to be struggling. Then they're going to start thinking that they're stupid in math because they didn't understand the concept last week, and your child and your teacher is not going to slow down for him. You can. You don't have to move on in lessons. You can continue on and on and on until they get it, until it clicks. The good thing about your child struggling is you can put it down and you can walk away and you can pick it back up next week. I had one child really struggling with a subject, and all of my friends were like, just stop. Just stop and pick it up in a week. And if they still don't understand it, put it down and pick it up next week. And it's a brain development thing. There are so many wiser homeschoolers out there than me, and you soak up their knowledge. Teach Them Diligently has an app. I believe it's called 365. They have an app where you can pay the year or the monthly fee. I'm not sure how much it is, $5 a month. $9. I don't know how much it is, but there are so many wise speakers on there constantly. You can gain access to all of the talks and all of the wisdom, and you can sit there and soak it in and just be blessed by that. Because just the fact that you're curious if you're enough, or if you can do it, if you're smart enough, if you're whatever you are, and it's going to be okay. And you can flip-flop between curriculums, and you can stick to one that they love, and you can switch it every single year. I did with my first child. He was my experimental child, and I made all the mistakes, and he's doing great. He graduated with a 4.0. Like, he's doing fine. It's okay. So don't worry about state standards. You don't have to worry about that. Nobody fits the standard. Just teach your child where they're at. Pick good curriculum. There are millions out there to choose from. If you're doing math and you're doing English and you're reading books, if you're just reading books, if your child knows how to read a book and loves to read books, they're going to be okay. They're going to understand things. They're going to be able to learn what they want to learn when they want to learn it. I think I said that before. Do you remember everything that you were taught in public school? You don't. I don't. So where do I begin? I think this is a really good spot to begin. Getting involved and searching and watching videos. You're doing it right now. You are getting started. Go check out the Kathy Duffy reviews for different curriculum. Ask your friends. I think I could say, if you are just beginning, when we just begun, when I pulled my 3rd and 6th grader out of school, January 4th, school was supposed to start back January 3rd, and I pulled him out the next day. We finally decided that we were going to homeschool. I don't even think it was the next day. I think it was 2 or 3 days after school was supposed to start, and we were sitting there. It's we haven't taken our kids back to school. It's are we going to homeschool? Are we going to do this? Are we actually really going to do this? It was really funny. It was so funny. And so I went up to school and I pulled him out. And so I think if you're in that kind of situation and you're just trying to finish the school year, which it could be you, we turned to Monarch online. Everything was online. I just did Monarch for both of my children. I picked their grade level, and that's what we did. And it worked perfect. It didn't work perfect because there were technical issues. The pages wouldn't load sometimes. They got so frustrated sometimes. They would answer an entire page and then click submit, and then it would be gone. And they had to answer the exact same questions again. But that was how many years ago? 2016? I feel no, I don't know when I pulled my children out. I feel like it was 2016. Y'all do the math. 6th grade to 12th grade. That's how long I've been doing this. But yeah, if you want an all-inclusive online, affordable, everything's there for you, you're terrified to mess up your child, check out Monarch. If you don't want to do online and your child struggles with computers and you still want something, more classical, easier going, master books. I guide a lot of people to master books at first. You can buy a whole year from them. Just go to your grade level and you can just choose English, math, science, social study, Bible, boom, done. The Good and the Beautiful, but it's not all inclusive. You can do, you know what? I take that back. You can, for the younger years, get everything from the Good and Beautiful: English, math, history unit, and science, and Bible? No, I don't know. Go check that out. They're Good and the Beautiful. Love them. They're amazing. The first 5 years of their English program is free online, and I believe their math is as well for the younger years. Yeah, and if you are seeing this and it's the end of the school year and you've pulled him out because of something wrong, just don't. that's always an option too. Just don't do any more school for the year. If you have a couple months left and something dramatic has happened and you've pulled your children out of public school, unschooling. Take a break. Your children need a break. They need to learn to just be children again. Get out there and play in nature and read good books. Check out unschooling methods, and they're really cool. You do not have to make public school at home. Don't make public school at home. That's a thing that you don't need to do that. They don't need desks. Boys do schoolwork better on their faces, on their heads, upside down, on a trampoline. They just do, laying on their bellies, on a ball. I have seen so many homeschool boys in the most awkward positions, doing their schoolwork, and it works for them because they're boys. Your girl might actually appreciate a little desk in her room. She might. She really might. So I think that's it. I think I'm going to go. There's a lot of fears there, and there's a lot of advice out there for you. Don't let the devil win. You are being called, and that's all that matters. You are being called, and you need to answer that call, and you are going to do a good job. You are going to mess up sometimes. You are going to be stressed out sometimes. Your children, and you're going to need a break, and I applaud you for doing this. And it's hard, and it's amazing, and it's worth every single moment. And with that, I will see you guys later. Bye.